Good morning, everyone. This is Abdullah Laghari. I am a faculty member from the Department of English, Quaid-e-Awam University of Engineering, Science and Technology. On behalf of International Conference on Global Politics and Socio-Humanities, I welcome you all to be the part of this conference. This conference is actually an amazing opportunity for all of us to be the part of this conference. And in my today's talk, I will be talking about the education research, development, and publishing. So in my keynote talk, I'll be focusing on what is the importance of education research, why there should be education research, what should be the procedures of education research, where is the gap to conduct education research, or what should be the characteristics of education research. By conducting education research, what outcomes, what progress could be witnessed, and how can we implement or how can we witness the outstanding development in education research. And then at the end, my keynote talk consists of a segment that talks about the publishing in education research and what is the significance of publishing in education research. So let's talk about what is education research. Just imagine, had there been no research, where would have been our education standards? What era we would have been the part of? Certainly, without education, without research and education, there would have been traditional methods, there would have been traditional teaching, there would have been traditional ways of assessment, evaluation, and there would have been traditional pedagogical practices. But with the emergence of research in education, there have been significant changes. Since education is an integral part or aspect of every society. Without education, we cannot survive. It is the education we are touching the heights of success. And it is again education we are witnessing the modern changes in the world. And with the help of research, we have achieved significant achievements in the world. Education research plays a vital role in the overall development of pedagogy. Pedagogical skills can also be improved. There have been certain pedagogical changes also. With pedagogical changes in learning programs, there have been significant outcomes also. And policy formulation is a result of research in education. Several policies can be implemented, can be revised also, and that can have a positive impact on education system. Education research is a type of systematic investigation. We must remember that education research is very much systematic. Systematic in the sense that we have to first identify, point out, highlight the problem, highlight the gap. Where is the problem? Where is the gap? And then we systematically check that. Systematically in the sense that we employ all the methods that are very much scientific in nature. In that sense, it is the investigation. And in that sense, it is a systematic investigation that applies empirical methods to solving challenges. You know, these days our society is faced with many challenges, and the only solution of those challenges is research, and such research that is very much practical. Without having a good education, no one can withstand in this technical world. You know, this world is facing various challenges. In third world countries, there are gender discrimination issues. In third world countries, students are deprived of modern facilities of teaching and learning. Even the teachers, they do not have the facilities. For example, there is no modern teaching. There are no modern facilities of teaching. There are no authentic materials in the classes. There are no authentic courseworks. As a result, there's no critical thinking in our classes. These are the challenges. Other challenges I would like to talk about in today's talk are deficit of trained teachers. In our case, I mean, in third world countries, you can find a number of untrained teachers. Is a result of this, because this creates a huge gap in the classroom. Our teacher is the one who takes all the classes, who takes all the students, and who takes every student on the board. And the concern of the teacher is only students. So this could be achieved once the teacher is trained. But in our situation, I mean, in the third world countries, teachers are not trained. And there's lack of authentic materials. Since there's lack of authentic materials, there's no critical thinking. Hardly there's critical thinking. When I talk about, I would like to, using this platform, in third world countries, there are various issues in schools and colleges. In universities, there are some researches. As a result of those researches, there is some impact on university education. But when it comes to school and college education, there's no critical thinking at all. And then, yes, another challenge could be, poor quality of research. In third world countries, I told you, the research is of not quality, in the sense that there are no proper guidelines, there's no proper supervision, and students, they are not properly guided concerning the research, and that's why the reason of poor quality of research is. Learning facilities, that's again a challenge. Skill development, that's again a challenge. In our education scenarios, there's teacher dominance. Teachers are dominant in the classroom. Dominance of a teacher is very much positive once the teacher controls everything. But in our situation, teachers control everything, in the sense that they speak all the time, they consume all the time, there are no activities, there is no learner engagement. As a result of no learner engagement, certainly there will be no learning outcomes. So this is again a problem. We can here talk about the learner-centeredness and teacher-centeredness. When teachers are more centered in the classroom, learner-centeredness is ignored, certainly there will be less learning outcomes. So lack of technology in the classrooms, that's again a very, very crucial issue that needs to be resolved. Let me talk about the characteristics of educational research. It is aimed to solve a specific problem. The problems that take place in a society, it is the concern of educational research to solve that problem and to rely on first-hand resources of information and secondary data to arrive at a suitable conclusion. When we conduct research, we have to certainly collect data through first-hand sources and certainly second-hand sources also. And another concern of education research is to rely on empirical evidence. Empirical evidence is, we cannot just guess, or we cannot just say that this is a problem and that problem needs to be solved this. And why the research is for? Research is when we employ scientific approach, when we are collecting empirical evidence. On the basis of those empirical evidence, we are reaching some conclusion. We are reaching at some findings. Then we can say this is a scientific approach. To measure variable information, since it's objective, it's objective and accurate. Variable information, because education research is very much objective. Yes, it's accurate also. To adopt specific methodologies to gain better insights into the pressing issues. Insights could be gained into the pressing issues once we are employing the very valid and empirical evidence using scientific method. Now, here you can see, when you talk about research in education, here, when we look at our society, our education system, we can find out a gap. We can find that gap, that gap can only be filled once we are giving our 100%, and once we are following the scientific approach. So therefore, in order to find that gap, there is the need of research, and it is the research only that can bring about significant changes in our education, and education can be advanced only with the help of research. So this slide talks about the procedure of conducting education research. No, step number one is identifying a research problem. We can start our research when there is a problem. What is the problem? For example, in our classroom, for example, okay, the problem can be the classroom management. Classes are not properly managed. The problem can be students are not properly learning. The problem can be teachers are not trained. There can be several other problems also. For example, we can talk about the social problems also. We can talk about economic problems as well. And then on the basis of that problem, the second step is formulating research questions. So on the basis of that research problem, we have to design research questions. After designing research questions, we have to review the literature, what studies have been conducted in that particular domain, and what needs to be in order to find out the gap that is existing. After reviewing the literature, the next step is specifying a research purpose. So what is the purpose of that research? On the basis of that purpose, we have to design a study, and then in this way, we have to analyze, we have to collect data. On the basis of data, we have to analyze it, and we have to come up with our own interpretations of the data. After we have followed this procedure of conducting the education research, then we'll have to report the research. On the basis of that report, we can tell them, we can come to the conclusion that this sort of research has been very significant, has been very helpful, and that can help us resolve the issues that are existing in our society, are the issues in our educational settings, are the issues in our policies, or any other issues. Now, this slide talks about the contribution of research in education. So what is the contribution of research in our education setup? The very first one is to pursue an in-depth or deep original study about any topic which interests you, to provide the best of the solution to some of the world problems, and also to enhance our knowledge, to understand and act on the complexities of various issues that we as humans are facing. The purpose of research in education is to pursue an in-depth and original study. See, when there's no research and it is education only, so the education is very much traditional. But when it comes to research, research is certainly something systematic, certainly something innovative, certainly something that leads us to valuable insights. So when we are conducting a research, it's an investigation, and with the help of this investigation, we can pursue an in-depth study about the topic, about the domain we are very much concerned about. With the help of education research, there can be outstanding progress in education. How? For example, education research plays a vital role in the overall development of pedagogy. These days, there are pedagogical issues, and there have been several researches on pedagogy. Pedagogy at school levels, at college levels, at undergraduate levels, at the higher levels also. So when there is a research in education, there can be significant changes, there can be significant improvements, there can be development of pedagogy also, learning programs, because the research these days, when you talk about the learning, learning can also be facilitated with the help of research. And then the policy making. The main thing is main thing is education policy. All the policies that we are designing in third world countries are the advanced countries. Those policies are also on the basis of research. For example, the previous year, the research says that this was the policy. On the basis of that policy, there were these changes and there were these improvements and there were these flaws. Certainly on the basis of those, reports, we can also go towards the positive policy making also. And that is again the contribution of this research in education. To make improvements in education planning, education is all about planning. Without planning, we cannot achieve our targets in education, because these days education is getting more modernized. Students are inclined towards the modern ways of teaching and learning, and they are very much fed up with pencil learning. They're very much fed up with traditional learning. They're very much fed up with the use of blackboard or whiteboard or whatever you say. So to make improvements in education planning, decision making, some bold decision should be taken so that we can face, the world can go ahead with the modern countries. In order to fight with the advanced countries, we have to take decisions also. And then there can be significant changes in teaching and learning. When it comes to education, the core issues of education are teaching and learning, because teaching objectives, learning objectives cannot be met once the teaching is not up to the mark. So in order to make teaching effective, comprehensive, interesting, and goal-oriented, certainly we need trained teachers. And for the training of teachers, we need research. So it is the education research that can lead us to the improvements in teaching and learning also. Curriculum development certainly is in the start. I talked about the issue of critical thinking, because at school or college levels, there is the dearth of critical thinking. Over there, syllabus is of very poor level, which does not encourage students to improve their critical thinking. And in that sense, the policymakers, the sponsors, our we educationists have to take decisions and have to revise our curriculum so that there should be development in the curriculum. Understanding of children and youth, use of instructional media, school organization and school management, and to achieve this goal through the most effective methods. And then to find solutions to particular problems arising in the classroom. Modern research says, because the lenses of modern research have fallen on the classroom and the issues of the classroom, on a single issue of a classroom, there can be PhD research. There can be research of the high level. For example, there are issues of classroom management. There are issues of teacher-centeredness. There are issues of lack of interest on the part of learners. There are various issues that are existing in a classroom. The best researcher, a good teacher, is the one who tries to find out what the issue in the classroom is. And that is the research problem. What I do as a researcher, as an ELT instructor, in my every class, in every semester, I try to find out one problem in the class and conduct a research on that. That becomes my research problem. And on the basis of the research problem, I formulate research questions. And I decide the research design also, and then collect data, and then is the result. At the end of the day, what happens at the end of the semester, I am able to know more about the problem, what actually the problem is. And then in other semester, what I do, for example, in the same batch, I try to implement my lessons I plan so as to solve that particular problem. Now it takes a time, but at the end of the day, I am able to solve the problem. So the research is tilted towards the particular problems that are rising in the classroom or school. Now let's talk about the development in educational research. When we talk about research and education, as a result of research and education, there have been significant developments. The very first one is bridging the education gap in the context. Because the case studies are the context of, different universities, high schools or colleges are different ones, right? So in those contexts, there are gaps, and it is a teacher who knows better. With the help of educational research, those gaps can also be reduced, or those gaps can also be bridged. Number one. Number two, pedagogical skills can also be promoted with the help of educational research. Teachers can be empowered. Teachers can be equipped with modern tools, modern methods of teaching and learning. Teachers can also be, yes, with this way, what happens, it has the very positive impact on the whole classroom, all the students also is a result, what happens, there can be better learning outcomes on the learners' part as a result of promoting the pedagogical skills in that particular context. Then this educational research also leads to professional development also. With the help of research and education, as I told you, teachers can also be equipped with modern tools, and this leads to the professional development of teachers. As a result, this helps our education as a whole, and as a result, it facilitates policymakers, sponsors, and educationists also to revise the existing curriculum. As the curricula are revised, this has a significant impact on our education. So the development in education research, it increases awareness and understanding. It increases awareness and understand the rapidly changing world. The world is changing very rapidly, and a number of problems or issues are taking place. With the help of, with the scope of this educational research, we are able to understand those problems. As a result, we are able to solve those problems also. Once the problems are solved, we must understand it is not only the problems which are solved, but by solving the problems, we are simultaneously improving our own skills as well as teachers. And in case of learners, they are also improving their own skills too. Number two, we are engaging the people in analysis, in reflection and action also. So once people are engaged, in educational research, this gives them a sense of reflecting their own actions too. Yes, with the help of educational research, it is also supporting people in transforming and understanding the social, cultural, political, and economic structures as well. So this was a contribution of education research. Once the research is there in education, the significance of educational research can be once it gets published. With the help of publishing, we'll be able to promote, we'll be able to tell the world, we'll be able to provide a platform, a sound platform to the novice researchers, to the learners, to the teachers, to the policymakers, educationists also. They'll be able to know what is the status of education, what achievements they have taken, or where is the gap, where they need to work on, where they need to take decisions, where they need to bring something innovative so as to improve our education standards. So the purpose of publishing education research is to make research more rigorous. We need to, because research is very much common. There is research, but if research is not, valuable, if research is only found in papers and there's no input, there's no reflection of the research in our society, in our practice, then certainly there's no use of that research. Once we are making our research rigorous, then it can be of our concern, because research should be in the case in that way so that it should bridge the existing gaps and it should create dimensions in our education research. And its another purpose is to examine education and learning processes and the human attributes, interactions, organizations, and institutions that shape educational outcomes. Another major purpose is to embrace the full spectrum of rigorous methods to enhance education policy analysis, evaluation, and decision making. With the publishing in education research, we can also make major programmatic research and new findings of the broad importance, which are widely accessible, to publish highly quality manuscripts that are of international significance or standards. With the help of publishing, we can also publish, such manuscripts which are very valuable and which are highly recognized and which address the gaps in various contexts and which also encourage other researchers to embark the path of research. To publish high quality manuscripts, to bridge the gap between research and practice. We have to bridge that gap that is existing, that is between research and practice, because research is very much concerned with the practice. When there is no practice, there's no research. So research is useful when there is practice. Research is useful when it is inclined to solve the issues in the society in the real sense. And to provide a unique platform for sharing research, to provide a forum where the latest advances in research into the teaching, learning, and assessment are existing there. So this was my keynote talk. That was all about education research, its development and publishing. With the help of education research, we can find out gaps, we can improve them, we can also solve the social issues, we can also, witness a great change in the standards of our education. With the help of this, we can witness development in the professional ethics of teachers, and there can be positive impact on learners' learning outcomes also. And then this is how, when we get all those, contributions published, publishing, then with the help of this, our work can also be visible around the globe. And with this, we can be able to fight with the challenges of the world, socially, economically, politically, and in the arena of education also. Thank you very much for listening.